So there's this word that keeps coming up in all of these responses, which is tradition. There's actually, fun fact, a song in the show all about it. And in fact, it's the opening number or the prologue. And the whole song is tradition, 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 tradition. They only say the word tradition about 700 million times in this song. So yes, I would say that this opening number does an excellent job of setting up the theme of the show being tradition. One of the very interesting musical techniques that's being used in this song is counterpoint, which is when you have a lot of different people singing different melodies all over top of each other, but they all sound good together. And counterpoint, especially in the context that it gets used in musical theater, usually has two main requirements to work. The first requirement is that all of the melodies are written to the same chord progression. And the second element is that we hear all of the melodies on their own first before putting them together. This is a textbook example of that. We start with the Papas. The Papa melody goes, who day and night must scramble for a living, feed a wife and children, say his daily prayers, and who has the right as master of the house to have the final word at home. That melody is written to this chord progression, D, D, E flat, D, and then again, D, D, E flat, D. So that chord progression, I mean, first of all, it borrows a lot from the Phrygian mode, this like, the major Phrygian, this, because that has the D flat chord and the E flat chord in it. In a normal D major scale, we would get like an E minor instead of an E flat, because we would have an E natural and a B natural, but in the Phrygian major mode, we have the E flat and we have the B flat, so we get this E flat. So it's very reminiscent of that scale that David was talking about before. It's also a very simple chord progression, so it's easy to remember. D, which is in D, it's the home chord, and then E flat, which is the flat second, so one semitone up. Basically, it's two chords, a semitone apart from each other. And it's twice on the first chord. Then we go up a semitone and back down. Then repeat twice on the first chord. Then up a semitone, then back down. That is the chord progression that the Papa's melody is written to. Now, the Mamas have a totally different melody, right? Nothing the same. Who must know the way to make a proper home, a quiet home, a kosher home? Who must raise a family and run the home, so Papa's free to read the holy book, right? Totally different than the Papa's melody. But you'll notice the chord progression is the same. We're in a different key now. We're in A, so we're starting on A, but it's the same thing. First chord, repeat, then up a semitone, then back down. And again, first chord, again, then up a semitone, and back down. So it's the same chord progression, just in a different key. And because the melody fits with that chord progression, any other melodies that also fit with that chord progression are going to fit with each other, because they're going to fit with this collection of notes. And then they're going to fit with this collection of notes. So as long as you're writing the melodies to the same chord progressions, they will all overlap with each other. Then we have the Sons, who also have a totally different melody. At 3 I started Hebrew school, at 10 I learned a trade. I hear they picked a bride for me, I hope she's pretty. Again, totally different melody, same chord progression. This time we're in D flat, so we start here. Then up a semitone, back down, loop. right? Exact same thing. Finally, it's the daughters. Preparing me to marry whoever Papa picks. The daughters, also, you guessed it, same chord progression. We have... Who does Mama teach to mend and tend and fix? Preparing me to marry whoever Papa picks. There's one variation here, which is here they just don't use the C natural. For some reason, I think it maybe makes it a little bit... Instead of going... On this one, they could do it. To mend and tend and fix. That works. But instead, they just keep the B here. I don't know why they do that. To mend and tend and fix. Because here they then go to the C natural, which is normal. So that's a little variation in this version, but it still works with the same chords and was probably written around the same chords. The daughters tradition. And then here we go. We have all of the melodies overlapping with each other. And anyone who's heard this section of music knows how powerful it is, because you don't see it coming as an audience member, right? You don't know while you're watching it, oh, all of these melodies are going to fit with each other perfectly, because you don't necessarily notice that they're all written to the same chord progression. But then as soon as they all start singing over top of each other and you realize how well they all fit, your mind just gets blown. It's like this secret that the writers have been keeping from you the entire song. Actually, these melodies all fit together, and you don't know that. And then when the writers finally reveal that secret, it's such a satisfying surprise. The other thing is that it serves a really interesting dramatic purpose, too, especially in this song. Every melody has a role to play within the counterpoint. We've heard each one of them on their own, in isolation. So when we're hearing them all overlapped, it's not just a cacophony to us. We're able to pick out these familiar chunks of music that we've heard before. But when we were just hearing them on their own, we didn't get the full effect. We needed all four melodies stacked on top of each other to truly understand the song. Just like this community requires every person to fulfill their role in the community in order for the community to work. Musically, that's what's being shown to us by the fact that the composer chose to use this musical technique. So let me again reiterate. You can't just use a cool musical technique because you know it as a composer. In order to be a truly great composer, what separates the Jerry Bachs of the world from the amateurs is that Jerry Bach knows counterpoint. Jerry Bach knows polyphony. But now so do all of you. It's actually quite a simple idea. As long as the chord progression is the same, the melodies are going to fit together. But the fact that he's using it to communicate the theme of the show, which is how the traditions of this community hold the community together, that is what makes this truly, truly great musical theater writing.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. MARQUEE is a free weekly Broadway appreciation newsletter with essays, reviews, piano talks, Broadway blasts, quizzes, and more. Sign up for the complimentary or premium edition and learn about all classes and projects at thebroadwaymaven.com. And here's a video I think you'll like.